analytics is the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
What is geoengineering? Geoengineering means climate engineering and climate mitigation. It means to play God with the weather. The primary methods of engineering the climate is to fill the atmosphere with light scattering particulates that are sprayed from the back of jet aircraft. We know many of these particulates are heavy metals. We know that from testing from around the globe and patents as well. Primary method of solar radiation management. The stated purpose to block some of the sun's incoming thermal radiation to try to slow down the greenhouse effect that's happening on our planet from the buildup of greenhouse gases. So we have aircraft dispersing light scattering particles all over the globe. It's creating a condition that's termed global dimming. That fully 25 to 30% of the sun's direct rays that reached the planet 5 decades ago no longer do. Think about that, 25 to 30%. These particulates, when they settle down to the sea surface, are then utilized for ocean fertilization, which means to create artificially an algae or plankton bloom to try to force the ocean to absorb yet more CO2 to take it out of the atmosphere, which causes cataclysmic effects in the ocean. But those behind these programs seem to care not for the consequences of what they do. So we have climate engineering to try to block some of the sun's incoming thermal radiation. We have those same materials then settling down to the sea surface, becoming ocean fertilization materials. And all these are causing a catastrophe of downstream consequences that are truly beginning to manifest on our planet.
All right. So as you just heard, Milton is a Category 5 now, which was completely unexpected. And according to the spaghetti models, it's looking like it's going to track towards Tampa, but actual landfall could be anywhere between Tampa Bay and Cape Coral. And so, anyone along the area between Tampa and Cape Coral should be prepared. And I would say to even, know your elevation. And if you're below 30 feet of elevation, then I would get to higher ground, because the storm surge from a Category 5 can be 25 to 30 feet high. So if you're below 30 feet elevation and a Cat 5 brings storm surge to your area, you're going to be underwater. All right. So now we've seen the track for that, but I want to talk about the intensity. So originally, Hurricane Milton was only predicted to be a category 2 or 3 storm. Most models were putting it as category 3. There was like 2 models that predicted it could reach a category 4, but none of the models predicted a category 5 to spring up out of the storm. And yeah, so it's undergone rapid intensification in the Gulf of Mexico, which is kind of a newer phenomenon. And I went to the Google Trends to actually see like how new of a phenomenon this was. April 2007 was the first time rapid intensification had ever been Googled. And then, as you can see, over the years, it did happen again in uh, like 2012, and then there was a few of them between 2016 and 2017. But then, now it's also on the rise. So I just wanted to point out that the term rapid intensification was pretty much non-existent before April of 2007. All right. So now to the storm itself. I want to show injected convection. So you see this convective activity that's coming in from the east edge of the storm where the arrow's pointing, and it's like it's being sprayed in there, injected in there, pumped in there, whatever you want to call it. But these clouds look like they're coming from a point source in the ocean, and they're flowing up into the storm and causing a lot of convective activity. All right, so now we have seen this in the past, and I want to introduce again Bruce Douglas, who is someone who we've mentioned on this show before, but he went into some detail on the Hurricane Otis rapid intensification. So I want to give a little bit of background. Hurricane Otis was the most rapidly intensifying storm in history, in recorded history, where it went from a tropical storm to a category 5 in less than 24 hours. Now, Bruce is going to give his 2 cents on why that might be.
Let's take a look. We're going to slow it down here. So this is the tropical storm. And I'm seeing these little sudden bursts of clouds going and then dissipating. Like it looks like they're trying to whip something up. I see this burst right here happening. And so here's a little burst, kind of coming out of nowhere, But what's most interesting is what happens when a big aerosol comes in from the side. All the yellow is extremely dense material. And then there's 5 hours missing, and then it suddenly jumps into a hurricane, like within a short amount of time. Within a few hours time, it spins up, and as it moves closer to shore, it speeds up into a full class 5 hurricane. Kaboom, it nails Acapulco, quickly breaks up, and then there's these aerosol releases off the shore.
All right, so as you saw, Bruce was showing that there was some aerosols appearing to be like injected into the storm, which was convecting and adding to the strength and the density of the storm as well. So I just want to show this video one more time before. Now this is Hurricane Milton. This is probably from yesterday or the day before, but you can see injected convective activity. So now what could that be? Well, we have a video from Real Life Fishing, and he's a fishing boat captain who knows the Gulf very well, and he's going to give his explanation.
Greenpeace obviously knows about these bunker ships that's in the ocean. That looks like forest fires. Just one of 2 pictures of bunker ships that I do have. There is literally hundreds of these ships out on the Gulf of Mexico with unlimited power, like I showed in my previous video of fuel. I really think all this individual stuff's bunker ships out here. Let's look at the marine tracker, see if there's any idle out here. Okay, warriors, at 12 minutes, I appreciate y'all, but this is truly what makes me angry. Super tankers sitting here out of gear. What are they doing? Right in the middle of a hurricane, gonna take it out of gear. Right here is where the hurricane is creating. Where I think all the smoke is coming from. Every one of these red ones are super tankers. Every single one of these red ones. 12 knots, that one's moving. But who said they can't be moving with the smoke? 2 knots, he ain't going nowhere. Two knots, he's not going anywhere. What is going on out here where these hurricanes are? 1.2 knots, he's not going anywhere. Why are all these super tankers sitting out here in the ocean not moving? Where the storm is being built. They have ships out here pumping this material out. There's no reason for these ships to be out of gear at 1 knot. Super tankers. Bunker ships. They're controlling our weather. Got all the bunker ships out here to do it. That one's at 12 knots. I believe all the ones at 12 knots and all, that's cruising speed. They're going somewhere. But these ones at 1 knot doesn't make any sense. There's tons of 1-knotters out here. 1 knot's you walk faster than that. This is a land grab. There's a target on the people. We are being attacked, and it's worldwide, my friends.
All right, so that was his first video on the bunker ships, also known as super tankers, who can sit idle and run their engines and create clouds, basically. And these clouds get sucked or convected into the storm and add to the density of the storm. Now, he did also, later on that day, he reiterated, he went into more detail on these boats, and I'm going to show that now.
I had a great question from a warrior. They want to know what these people are burning on these bunker ships. It is bunker fuel. Almost an endless supply. They can hold hundreds of thousands of gallons. Each one of these machines, there's 2 of them aboard this vessel. But here is their testing facility. They claim it's a rocket engine testing facility, which it may be, but they also produce rain with these same technologies. This is quite loud. They can produce rain with these equipments. They come in many, many forms. This is another one I'm going to show you here that can be put on top of mountains. I believe it was in Mexico this winter that gave Florida continuous cloud cover. These billionaires are phenomenal wealthy. But here is the cloud makers. And this is nothing clean about this. That is a lie.
Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh, NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
So I did want to bring up these technologies are not top secret. These patents and things, I don't want to go into it again, but we've done a lot of content on the patents and this technology, and it's public knowledge. It's nothing kept secret. It's just a lot of people aren't paying attention to them and connecting the dots.
All right.
And then the guy that just did that one, I don't know his name, but we'll put his channel in the description, and please go head over and subscribe to him. He's doing a really amazing work, and he has a smallish channel. So he's got a lot of good content there.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link for his channel and some of his videos in the description. The channel name is Real Life Fishing, and he's doing a good job keeping up on this. He's a warrior. All right. So now, speaking of warriors, I want to go back to Into Thin Air. He just did an update today on Hurricane Milton and how it's now Cat 5. And I'm going to play that now.
All right, everyone, welcome back. October 7th, 2024, and we are tracking Major Hurricane Milton. This thing has broken records overnight, and by the timing of this video, this thing is a Category 5 hurricane. Now, you're not going to believe what I'm already seeing taking place near the state of Florida, just like we saw with Helene. Rapid intensification within 24 hours from a Cat 1 to a Cat 5. That is likely the fastest a hurricane has ever rapidly intensified after forming in the Gulf and then continuing to stay in the Gulf. Look at this. Major hurricane all the way to landfall around 7 p.m. Wednesday. That may shift, give or take, but my friends, this is a horrible situation for the west coast of Florida. All right, and now, my friends, into the stuff you really want to know about. All right, let's take a look at Florida, and already it's looking like a disco party is going on. A lot of different radar activity going on. We got spikes here going all the way into the Gulf. Heavy lines up in this area, and then, of course, we have the one we saw with Hurricane Helene right here, going off again. Now, of course, remember, these are just theories that we're talking about here, entertainment purposes only, because no way is weather modification real, right, everybody? Ahead of Hurricane Helene, we had a very significant low-pressure system up by North Carolina already sitting there that then interacted with actual Hurricane Helene, causing the record-breaking flooding. Now, just look at this one more time. Take a look at what's going on up here, the disco party, and then look at these clouds down here, making unnatural formations, right angles. We don't see right angles in nature. So a lot of the rain and moisture taking place in Florida is almost a precursor to the landfall of the hurricane. Again, the same situation took place with Hurricane Helene, days of rain in the Carolinas and Tennessee before that thing even made landfall. A little bit, you can get a much better idea of what I'm talking about. Look at that. We got one coming from all the way in North Carolina, streaking across South Carolina, Alabama, part of the Panhandle, through Mississippi, and into Louisiana. This is unreal. This is a very distinct radar beam here. And then look at the other ones fingering down like this. And if you continue to watch, you can see our little beams coming from Georgia right down into Florida, exactly where Hurricane Helene made landfall. So again, my friends, whatever's going on here, we're just speculating. Again, my friends, just a very, very odd situation. A lot of different anomalies taking place ahead of the hurricane heading into this exact area. It is very similar to what we saw with Helene, and I do not think it's the last we're going to see of these anomalies. Keep in mind, we are already at a Cat 5 hurricane, so hopefully a little bit of weakening as it approaches Florida. If that takes place, it'll be a total miracle.
All right. Now, I do want to correct one small honest mistake that he made in that video. Was the really long beam that you saw going from, well, Georgia. Well, actually, it was going from South Carolina crossing over Georgia. He had said it was going from North Carolina crossing over South Carolina. I think it was just an honest mistake on his part. But anyway, I was actually going to go to the College of DuPage website to try to keep up on this storm myself and see what beams I could see and other anomalies. And so when I went to the College of DuPage site and I was looking at the real-time radar mosaic, you can see that the bottom half of the screen is blacked out, and that happens to be where the hurricane is. Now, if you look up towards Louisiana, you can see a beam coming down from Louisiana pointed towards the hurricane, but you can't see the hurricane because it's been blacked out or removed or censored or whatever. Now, I know that there are radar installations in central and southern Mexico, but they're not being shown on this map. So that was just another anomaly or missing data that I wanted to point out.
Right. And that's something we're seeing that we saw with Otis, and we also saw with the fire in Maui. So missing satellite imagery. It could just be a glitch, but it is something that we're seeing as a consistent theme.
Right. There was 5 hours of missing data from Hurricane Otis. And that was the exact time of the rapid intensification. So that's actually all the data from the rapid intensification of Hurricane Otis is also missing. Not to mention the satellite images over Maui on August 8th during the fire are also conveniently missing. They're blacked out, just like we saw in that last video, in that last picture.
Something that has been going around, and it is confirmed that one of the biggest lithium deposits in the world is under Black Mountain in western North Carolina. So I'll play a little clip that goes into details of the lithium mines and how it relates to Hurricane Helene.
We actually have something rather interesting when it comes to North Carolina Hurricane Helene and a particular agreement. You see, North Carolina has a lot of lithium deposits. There is a corporation that really wants these lithium deposits. That corporation is called Albemarle Corporation. Now, Albemarle is owned by both BlackRock and Vanguard. And you have to remember, electronic vehicles are very important to the powers that be, the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, and so forth, when it comes to the 2030 agenda. Matter of fact, last month in September, the World Economic Forum and the United Nations met to speed up the 2030 agenda. 2 years ago, back in 2022, the Albemarle Corporation wanted to restart mining for lithium at a site along Interstate 85 in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, that was shut down back in the 1980s. But you see, there's a problem. Residents worry about keeping homes if lithium mining restarts in Kings Mountain, the same exact place that the Albemarle Corporation wants to start mining. Well, there's homes, stores, and businesses near these deposits. Some of them are actually on top of these lithium deposits. Take, for example, a technical center along Raven Circle, which is still on the 800-acre plot of land that the Albemarle Corporation wants to dig under. These community members, these residents, they gathered in protest, they had meetings, they said they definitely did not want to move. These residents were going to put up a real battle. They were not going to move. Well, flash forward to February 2024, the Albemarle and the BMW Corporation announced a multi-year agreement to supply battery-grade lithium to BMW for use in their electronic vehicles. The agreement will begin in 2025. The United States Department of Defense awarded Albemarle a $90 million agreement to support the expansion of domestic lithium mining and production. The agreement will help Albemarle reopen its Kings Mountain, North Carolina lithium mine, which is expected to be operational between 2025 and 2030, where we have all these residents, stores, and buildings that do not want to move. So what happens when residents do not want to give up their land? Well, just like Hawaii, as coincidence may have it, quote unquote coincidence, Mother Nature kicks in and helps them move, helps them leave. Now, when I say Mother Nature, of course I'm being sarcastic. Well, Hurricane Helene just happened to ravage the area. This area was the most impacted by Hurricane Helene. We are talking about towns wiped off the map.
So when it comes to, fake news and rumors and things like that, the mainstream will often label things as misleading or misinformation or even malinformation because it doesn't fit their narrative. However, their narrative has been proven to be untrue time and time again. So when it comes to that, we've heard a lot of stories come out of North Carolina about the piles of the bodies and the stench and the lack of response from the feds. And a lot of people are claiming that that's not true. However, the longer we go, we get more and more and more of these firsthand reports that actually corroborate that. And I want to play one.
If you meet with people who don't believe in climate change, don't believe in global warming, and there are a lot of them, what do you say to them? What do you say to them to convince them?
So if I could convince people in one sitting, that would be fabulous, but that has proven quite difficult. I tell everybody it takes years where people see the evidence, and the problem we have in climate change is we don't have a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor. It's slow motion. So everybody that I speak with acknowledges that the climate is changing. Just the nudge that we work on, and people on my side of this, is pointing out that humans are causing it.